Twilight Registry, Case File 7741. Incident Classification, Temporal Inscription Anomaly. Status, Unresolved. The body arrived on a Tuesday, wrapped in the usual bureaucracy of the unknown. Jane Doe, found along the embankment of Harker Creek, 11 miles outside the town of Cress, population 1,200, and falling. No identification, no missing persons report. No one had called about her. Mara Holt had been the county coroner for 19 years. She had processed 641 bodies. She did not startle easily. She did not startle at all. She would have told you if you had asked her on the Monday before the body arrived. The file had been sitting on her desk for 3 weeks. She had assumed it was a misfiling. These things happened. Paperwork stacked itself into strange orders. Interns confused intake forms. The scanner occasionally assigned the wrong date. She had set the folder aside and meant to deal with it later. Later had become 3 weeks. On Tuesday, when the Jane Doe arrived and she opened the folder to begin intake, she found that someone had already died. The preliminary examination notes were complete, detailed. They described the body with clinical precision. Female, mid-30s, 141 pounds. A small star-shaped scar at the base of the left thumb. A healed fracture in the 4th right rib. 2 missing molars on the lower right side. They described the primary cause of death. Blunt force trauma to the posterior cranium, consistent with a fall from significant height onto irregular stone. They described the secondary findings. Evidence of prolonged exposure to cold water, soil particulates consistent with creek embankment composition, defensive wounds on both forearms that had partially healed before death. The notes were thorough. The notes were correct. Mara confirmed them one by one against the body laid out on the table before her. The notes were in her handwriting. She knew her own handwriting, the way she knew her own face. The particular way she formed her sevens, crossed, European, a habit she had picked up from her father. The slight leftward lean in her lowercase letters, the way she abbreviated centimeters with a period instead of the standard abbreviation. The notes were unmistakably, unquestionably hers. They were dated January 14th. The body had arrived January 31st. Mara set down her pen and stood very still for a long moment, listening to the ventilation system and the distant sound of a car passing on the road outside. Then she turned to the last page of the notes. There was a section she had not read yet, because preliminary examination notes do not have a final section. They are not structured that way. They end with the primary findings and await the formal autopsy. But this folder had a final section, and it was labeled, in her handwriting, with a heading she had never used before. It read, Coroner's Personal Note. She read it 3 times. Then she closed the folder and sat down on the stool beside the examination table and did not move for 11 minutes. The body of Jane Doe waited with the patience particular to the dead. The note said, You're going to want to call Dr. Fenwick at the state office. You're going to want to do it today. Not because of the body. The body is what the notes say it is. Because of the scar. Mara looked at the body's left hand. The star-shaped scar at the base of the thumb. She looked at her own left hand. She had not had a scar there on Monday. She was certain of this. She was a coroner. She was trained to observe. She did not have a scar on the base of her left thumb. She had one now. Small. Pink. Fresh-looking. The kind of scar that had been there perhaps a week. She could not account for it. She had not cut herself. She had not been injured. The scar had simply arrived. She opened the folder again and read the coroner's personal note in its entirety. It said, "The scar appeared the morning the folder did. January 14th. You didn't notice because it was small and you were busy. And you don't look at your hands the way you look at other people's hands. This is the third time this has happened. The folder appeared first, then the scar, then a gap in memory you probably haven't noticed yet. Tuesday morning, between 7:40 and 8:15, you will not be able to account for. Check your phone. There are no calls. There are no texts. There is a voice memo you don't remember recording. Do not listen to it alone. It was signed M. Holt, Coroner, January 14th. Her own name, her own title. 3 weeks in the past, Mara Holt had processed 642 bodies by the end of that day. She had documented the Jane Doe with meticulous care, matching every finding in the pre-written notes to within measurement tolerances. She had confirmed cause of death. She had submitted the report. She had not called Dr. Fenwick. She had listened to the voice memo alone. The registry investigator who interviewed her 2 weeks later noted that she was cooperative, but exhibited signs of significant psychological distress. She answered questions in short, precise sentences. She agreed that the handwriting was hers. She agreed that she could not explain the timeline. She agreed that the scar had no prior medical record. She would not discuss the voice memo. The investigator noted in their report that Mara Holt had formally requested reassignment from field county work to administrative duties as of February 2nd. The request had been granted. She no longer processed unidentified bodies. The registry reviewed her caseload going back 5 years and found no prior anomalies. They found the folder. Not the Jane Doe folder. They had that. A different folder. Older. Its edges soft with age. Filed in the basement archive of the county building under a case number that did not match any formal intake. It contained a single sheet. Preliminary examination notes. Female. Mid to late 40s. 138 pounds. A small star-shaped scar at the base of the left thumb. A healed fracture in the fourth right rib. The cause of death section had been left blank. The date was not filled in either. Just 2 words had been written there, in Mara Holt's handwriting, in the space where the date should have been. Not yet. The Twilight Registry does not speculate. The Twilight Registry documents, case file 7741, remains open. Mara Holt has not returned our calls. The folder with the blank date has been logged, sealed, and placed in deep archive. We have noted that the paper, tested by our forensics liaison, is new. The kind manufactured only recently. It was filed 22 years ago. We do not have an explanation. We do not think one is coming.